Nez, hello. Long time no see. I mean, I'm still not seeing you, but you're seeing me. Hello. I hope you're well. I hope the new apartment is everything you dreamed it would be. Y'all, I'm not gonna lie. I'm really tired. It got really hot. I would love to come over sometime, Nez. I will rain check that until probably December is my best guess. Um, It got really hot today in New York City. It started out in low 70s, perfect autumn weather, and then once we passed like 11:30 a.m., it started inching into the 80s, and then I decided that I would walk around with friends in Astoria for a little while, and it was not a decision that I regret, but certainly the weather did not help my exhaustion levels right now. Also at about 12:30 p.m. Thank you, Nez. Sunday scaries hit me pretty hard. I have not felt Sunday scaries in a very long time because I've mostly been very numb, but next week is a Budget Eats shoot, so they hit me. And we have stuff that I have to cook today. Namely, things that were left over from recipe shoots and recipe development from the last 2 weeks. I know that they're fresh produce that will just go bad if I don't cook them, and because I will be cooking probably every day for Budget Eats this week, I figured let's cook them today, and if I don't get to eating them, and if Aaron can help me eat them, then I can at least freeze them and they won't go to waste. So that's what we're gonna do. I have some eggplant, I have some green beans, I have a package of tofu that Aaron cut open and didn't finish. I have some shallots and red onions, and I have some garlic that we can use. Oh, and I also... My diet this week has just been like straight up chocolate and sunflower seed butter and red bean paste, so it's like been a shit ton of sugar and fat. I'm looking forward to eating some vegetables maybe. I do have eggs, but they're already cooked. You should probably still go sleep. You can watch this live later. Oh my god, Kate. I'm so sorry to hear about your grandma. I thought I would be better at saying something in response to people who've just lost loved ones recently, having been through the whole process. But honestly, y'all, it doesn't get any easier. It's still such an awkward thing sometimes to be confronted with a death in the family that's not yours, because you know that bond existed in whatever form it took. It was intense, but you also don't know them, so you're just like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to help you. I know you're going through it right now and probably in pain, but I also don't know how to. It's kind of like watching somebody else scrape their knee, and it's like, oh shit, you are bleeding. Like, but I don't know what I can do for you. But I'm very sorry that you lost your grandma. I hope she didn't experience too much pain. And if she did, I guess it's a blessing to us all that she's no longer in it. But yeah, to all those of us who have lost someone in our lives, it's gonna suck for a while. And there's just no getting around that. But I think the more that we talk about it, the less awkward it becomes. And the shock of it will lessen over time collectively as a society if we choose to actually acknowledge death instead of evading it, ignoring it, pretending it doesn't exist, and or pretending it'll never come for us. I posted something on Instagram the other day, yesterday actually. I was reading through a newsletter that I found. I should be prepping the eggplants. I promise I'll get to it. But this passage really affected me pretty deeply, and I identified with it so very much because I started the edit on another Cairo episode, and this episode, one, I've been very busy. Two, it's pretty emotionally loaded because this episode deals with the time that immediately follows me getting news of my mom passing away. Um, but yesterday, Aaron was out for lunch, and I said, "Hey, the computer's free, so maybe I can do some editing." So I did it, and in the edit, I recorded some voiceover that touched upon what experiencing someone close to you dying feels like, and it felt like something really real. Um, and it's kind of hard to explain, which is why I'm looking for this excerpt from the newsletter. Okay, and here it is. This is from the nostomodernreview.substack.com. The excerpt goes, "In this way, I am actually the devil in the mirror, and what resides in the mirror is the real, or that which is impenetrable to express, but which pervades everything and yet cannot be seen nor acknowledged directly. For instance, the real is why we grieve over our loved ones, because the real suddenly invades the imaginary register of our everyday world, where the premise of death is everywhere, and yet we illusion ourselves into believing a principle of unity, continuity, and predictability, such that the real of death is impossible until it finally happens, and then it is catastrophic and shatters the imaginary world of ourselves, the ego, such that we are left to slowly mend the wound or the hole in the universe that it creates and leaves behind." Mom's death was such a shock because I had been living. It is very. How did you know it was Lacan? Yes, this entire newsletter is focused on dissecting Lacan, which I don't really know much about Lacan, but it was super soothing for me to read this. So I highly recommend this newsletter, especially this one. It's called Intermission, Lacan, the Stars, and You, ? And the Substack is called Nosto Modern Review. NOSTO Modern Review. But yeah, I was afforded the luxury of being a child who had a mom and a dad, even though they were divorced. And I was living under this very protected fairy tale that I will always have mom and dad. And yes, like, I think rationally I realized that I wouldn't always have them, but we don't really function off of our rational brain and mindset most of the time in our lives. We function out of the patterns that we observe, and my pattern in life has always had mom and dad. They've been alive for as long as I've been alive, and a part of me as that kid always assumed that she would be there. And then one day, without any notice, she was no longer there. And there was a big moment of hesitation when I was on the video chat with my neighbor, understanding the situation. And they said, "Hey, we're waiting on the coroner's van to come pick up your mom's body." And I was like, struggling with myself whether or not I wanted to see her body on screen before she was gone forever. Because I was pretty certain at that point, even when I returned to New York, I wouldn't go to the morgue and see her again. So this was, in a way, my last chance. And I think in order to complete the reality of her death, I knew I needed to see it. I knew I needed to see her body. And so I asked the police to show me her body. And they were like, normally we wouldn't touch the body at all. And I was like, I know, but like, can't you? And I saw it. And then Grandma asked to see her. And my uncle was like, no. And I was like, yes, let Grandma see her. And Grandma saw her, and Grandma cried. And I'm glad we saw her. It's so funny. Your brain holds on to these little moments of regrets after everything has died down a little bit. And I've been regretting different things I've since given away or discarded. And I also regret, no, I wouldn't say that. In the moment of seeing my mom's body on video chat, I was like, should I take a screenshot now so I can remember it and capture the details? And in the moment I was like, no, you shall not. You shall not screenshot this. And I didn't. But I really do wish I could remember what Mom was wearing when she died. Isn't that weird? Out of all the things that I could be hanging on to, I can't remember what Mom was wearing when she died. And there's this pink cashmere sweater that I once wore to Good Morning America that I can't find now, that Mom gave to me. I wore it to the show, and then I gave it back to her because I was like, this was yours, you loaned it to me, and I don't think I have any other occasion to wear it. And she was like, no, keep it. And I was like, no, you keep it here for me, and when I need it, I'll come get it again. I can't find that fucking sweater. And Erin was like, I think she was wearing pink when she died. And I was like, I don't remember seeing that on Mom. And I also can't imagine Mom ever choosing to wear cashmere at home. That would have been too nice for her everyday thing, but anyway, eggplants, shall we? We're gonna wash the eggplants, we're gonna dice the eggplants, we're gonna salt the eggplants, we're gonna let them drain for a little while, we're gonna move on to our green beans, and, stuff. Thank you for hearing me out. I didn't know I was gonna talk about Mom and death and everything, but that's the beauty and the horror of these lives. You never know what you're gonna get. First, I will boil some water for tea. Let me read some of your comments. Came for food content, stayed for morbid content. That's right, folks. I'm a 2-in-1. Yes, I'm so glad you like the ginger tea. I too love ginger tea. The best thing is when you make tangyuan or you make little mochi balls and you cook them in a soup, you could put them into ginger tea and it makes it sweet, slightly spicy, warming. Absolutely fantastic dessert. They serve it that way in Hong Kong a lot, so hello Czech Republic. We are about 2 weeks away from Mom's deathversary. And a part of me hates it that I haven't finished editing the grief diaries. But I think I was talking with someone else the other day about how I hate birthdays and I hate anniversaries and I hate how we are conditioned to kind of rope ourselves into these dates which are a human construction and probably spurred on by shit like capitalism and consumerism. So I'm trying to let go of it. I don't need a timeline. And in fact, the process of doing the voiceovers in a delayed fashion is kind of a journal in itself, in that I'm capturing my thoughts at the stage of grieving and healing and living at that moment when I make those videos. So every day is a different summary. None of them are any better or worse. But yeah, a year already. You know, Sarah, I sometimes feel like I'm creating fake memories too. And maybe I'll read you another. I'm never gonna cook today. Gosh, but this newsletter was so good. Maybe I'll read you another excerpt from the newsletter about fake and real and what that does to us, or rather what we allow it to do to us. And this is in the context of, you know, when people believe in astrology, which used to be apparently like a very similar study to astronomy, which we recognize as a formal science, but we no longer recognize astrology as a formal science. But here we go. So this is talking about astrology and how people ascribe to it, believe in it, function alongside it. The excerpt begins, "The relevance here is not that we take these descriptions factually. Instead, what matters is whether we agree or disagree with the description. It acts like a mirror here, and whether it reveals anything to us by function of our agreement or disagreement." So the reason why, when you said you were afraid of creating fake memories, Sarah, the memories may not be factual, but are they in some way serving a purpose for you? Are they basically something that you are organically using to help you heal, to help you move on, to help you synthesize unfinished feelings, self-analyses? Are they a tool? Are they basically some sort of an unconscious blueprint that you are relying on for important self-formulating and self-actualizing purposes? Because there are no real objective truths and factualities that really matter to us personally. They are all subjective things that matter to us personally. Like, you may love the movie Hereditary, I may hate it. That doesn't mean that Hereditary is a good or a bad movie. It just means that it resonated with one of us in some way or form that it didn't with the other. And so the fact that I don't like Hereditary, which I haven't seen Hereditary, probably never will, should have no impact on whether or not your decision to like it is valid. Alright, we watched the eggplant. These are Chinese eggplants. I got them for $1. I got 3 bags to use for recipe development and recipe shooting. But I had 1 extra bag left over. They were all $1, so I was like, let's just buy them now, and if I don't use them, I'll use them later for something else. And here we are. Does this thing with your mom affect somehow relationship with your BF? Are you more close to each other, or it affects a lot of your happy mood? Very complicated question. My mom dying has definitely affected the way that I perceive a lot of things in life, including my job, my place in life, my purpose in life, my remaining desires for my lifetime here while I'm alive. Secondly, Aaron and I are not in a romantic relationship anymore, so he's not my boyfriend. And are we closer to each other because of my mom dying? I wouldn't say that it's like a direct functionality, but I think the fact that my mom died and that I had to readjust my own perception regarding a lot of things that I thought I had decided already for myself, what they were and who they were and how important they were to me, a lot of those things have shifted. So I wouldn't necessarily say that like mom has caused a make or break thing in the relationship. It's more of just a transformation of my perspective. Does that make sense? Do you want any tea, Aaron?
No thanks.
Okay. And I think the whole point isn't like, is astrology valid or not? It's just, is it useful to you? And if it is, use it. And if it's not, discard it. Like, there are too many things in life that could apply to you, and too many things in life that never will apply to you, or don't apply to you now and someday will, and you're just not cognizant of that yet, and that's fine. I would say if other people like astrology, let them like it. Don't make fun of them for it just because you don't believe in it. It's the same thing with religions, right? Like, can you imagine how much more peaceful we could possibly be if we stopped harassing each other for what we believe or don't believe in? Like, I'm sure we'll find other ways of bullying the shit out of each other too, but just trying to imagine that we don't have as many excuses to hide behind when we try to abuse each other is a fascinating thought experiment. Imagine having to justify your hate for someone else without the cloak of religious differences, political differences, whatever shit we make up. How much harder your job would be as a bully? Naz, you really think Hereditary is so good? I really don't like scary movies that like are disturbing like that. You know, I like scary movies that have a plot line that teach me something. Like The Babadook. And I mean, I also like films that have a really kick-ass soundtrack like It Follows. I wouldn't say that's the best scary movie, but I really enjoyed the soundtrack. The kettle came from Amazon actually. It's just a gooseneck bottle, a gooseneck spout. They use it a lot for pour over coffees. We got it because it whistles, but then it doesn't anymore because we are abusers of our tools and they all end up damaged just like us. So, I don't use dry shampoo. I never understood how dry shampoo uses. I don't know how dry shampoo functions. Like, it sounds kind of gross. It's kind of like hand sanitizer, you know, I'm sure it disinfects, but I kind of want to wash the germs off of my hands instead of just leaving them caked on forever. What does being full John Lennon mean? Does that mean I'm gonna get shot? I really don't want to. Aaron,
Hey, Jude.
Kara tells me that, tell Aaron we're proud of him for advocating for the top half of his head.
That's good.
He says that's good. Midsommar is insanely overrated. Okay, got it. Have you seen any veggies not holding for a week because of supply chain? I don't know what you mean by that. Like not holding as in going bad? Not sure. I mean, some vegetables do go bad very quickly. Like the tomatoes I've been getting spoil so fast. Oh, yes, imagine there's no religion. Correct. Let's imagine that. Wow, so much split opinions on all these horror movies, y'all. Should probably turn on some lights for you. Sorry. I just really like working in the dark sometimes. It like calms me. Fuck all of y'all. I'm gonna turn my light off because it calms me down. JK, I don't want to. Fuck all of y'all. I just want the light off. But when it gets really dark and I can't cook anymore without chopping my fingers off, I will turn the lights on. I promise. Wow, you haven't been able to see what I've been cutting, have you? I'm really great at this video thing. Some people tell me I have a talent. But yeah, I haven't put up a live lately because work has been chaotic and kind of traumatic. Now that I think about it, all the stuff that went on with HR kind of gave me a very like existential crises month, and I'm not quite out of that phase of mindset yet. I'm trying to work my way out of it, but it is very hard because the tactics, I'm not saying that all of the things they're saying are invalidating, but I will say that the tactics that HR uses is really psychologically taxing because it's meant to kind of undermine you and your understanding of yourself and your whole perspective about things so that they don't have to deal with your complaints. And in the process of undermining you and invalidating your experience of things, it begins to like really fuck with you in terms of how much you believe yourself and how much you believe in your own perception and your own reality. And man, when that happens, things get really wonky in your head. I have not watched Rings of Power. I am not a Lord of the Rings fan. The only time I've seen Lord of the Rings is like when I watched the first half hour of the Two Towers, and I haven't read the book, I haven't seen the first movie, and I was so confused, and I was like, you know what, I don't think this is my jam, and I've never looked back since. Yo, that Severance chip is terrifying. I really don't agree with that technology, man. That seems like the worst form of disability that you could ever. It's like the saddest, most capitalistic version of Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Okay, so eggplants have been cut and salted. We're gonna let them sit. I'm I'm going to cook these green beans. By the way, I'm a huge fan of Trader Joe's green beans because they come pretty clean and trimmed for the most part. They're really nice and healthy. I've bought these for 2 weeks now. They're still good. They're not like extremely cheap, but they're also not extremely expensive. So if you like prepared produce, Trader Joe's green beans, I highly recommend them. Had great experiences with them. They taste great, they're crunchy, they're sweet, everything you need it to be. I truly don't remember how much they were. I'm so sorry. It's either $2 or $4. I can't remember. And I don't remember the prices as much because for non-budget eats work purposes, I just put it on the company card. We're supposed to look out for the cheapest prices on all of our purchases, but sometimes you just, it's cheaper than Fresh Direct is all I can say, which is where most of the Delish Test Kitchen gets their groceries. So at the end of the day, I'm still saving the company some money. If anybody at work is watching. I mean, Trader Joe's is definitely fun if you like prepackaged things. Like, there's a lot of really fun snacks. I guess if you're on an extreme budget, you don't really give a shit about snacks though, so maybe not. Maybe not your thing. I have been given this 0 acre cultured oil. So apparently this oil is not made out of any vegetable like olive or canola. It's not pressed. They actually cultivate this oil, like cultured oil. It's on a mission to remove destructive vegetable oils from the food system made by fermentation, not deforestation. Cultured oil is the versatile use for everything low carbon cooking oil that's sky high and heart healthy and heat stable mono unsaturated fat and low in linoleic acid. So if those words mean anything to anyone, I don't know how expensive this is. It's probably pretty fucking expensive given that it's fermented oil, but also MSG is fermented, so MSG isn't too expensive, so I don't know. Somebody do some research. Yeah, like a SCOBY creating oil. The problem with those cheap frying oils from like Wesson, like corn oil and vegetable oil and canola oil, is they all are produced by like hexane chemical processing and not cold pressing, and that's what makes the oil really unhealthy for you, is the way that they process the oil out is adding a lot of not good stuff for you. So it's less about the source of the oil being unhealthy and more about like the process of production sometimes. Not all the time. I will just say they need a little bit of help on their packaging. Like this oil is leaking everywhere. It's one of the shittiest bottles I've ever had to use. I mean, I think as far as oils go, like olive oil is pretty healthy. It's a pretty staple consensus now that olive oil is the best vegan oil to use. This is $30? Holy shit. Oh my god. They need a better bottle for $30. Yeah, see, nobody can afford to be green, quote unquote, these days. So many people ask me for like a zero waste episode of Budget Eats, and I'm like, guys, hello? Most people who are on a budget, like struggling to put food on the table, don't have access to zero waste stores where you can bulk everything. There's so much of a story that we're not telling about food lifestyles. Yes, mom put me onto grapeseed oil. I like it. It's cheaper. But I also don't think it's produced very well if it's coming in a plastic bottle. You know, it's just like, as far as oil, sometimes you do get what you pay for, but again, $30 for a bottle of oil is a little too extravagant, I think. You really do have to be rich in order to be living a zero waste lifestyle. Like, there's no way that someone who's making minimum wage has time, access, and resources to live zero waste. It's just the system does not have it ready for you to partake in life in that way. I love corn snacks. I love corn nuts so much. I can count on one hand the number of stores in New York City that I know of that has like packaging free bulk retailing for things like soap and oils and shit. It's not that pervasive because our lifestyles, the companies that run our world, they don't support zero waste. They want you to waste as much shit as possible so they can produce as much shit as possible so they can sell as much shit as possible so they can make this imaginary thing called money because they're all fucking afraid of dying. That's fine, that's their choice, but unfortunately, like, all of those personal choices because of personal insecurities and fears is landing us in a very bad spot as a whole. And so I'm urging all of us to just tackle your fears instead of making life worse for everyone. Because you may have more money, but more money, more problems, as great men have said. I mean, if we push Costco to have bulk packaging-free services, they will have it. But you have to look at the clientele who's shopping at Costco. Like, do they actually care? Or are they just trying to get in and out to feed their large family? And, you know, not have to think 1 second longer about this because they're already so fucking tired from working all the time. You want to live a zero-waste lifestyle? You have to have time to live a zero-free lifestyle. Because all areas of our modern living is a time hole, sink. Farmers market are usually zero waste, but guess what? When I was making minimum wage in restaurants, I could not afford anything at farmers markets. I could have bought 3 apples for $1 at my supermarket, but like 1 apple would be $1 at the farmers market. Now that I make more money, I have less trouble supporting farmers with higher priced groceries, especially with, you know, more knowledge about the food supply system and just how fucked up everything is, how we don't pay farmers and all of that. But if you don't have the money to spend on more ethically sourced shit, you don't have the money to spend on more ethically sourced shit. I don't buy Goo Gone. No. I don't think it's necessary for me to buy Goo Gone, so I don't buy it. I'm just gonna cook them and eat them, and whatever I don't get to eating, I can freeze. I just didn't want this shit to go bad, that's all. I just threw out 3 jars of Mexican, like, cocoa powder that I got maybe 3 years ago when we went to Atlanta. Because, like, it was a really dirty batch. There was, like, twine and string debris in it. And then I did spend some time, maybe a year ago, sifting it all out. But I honestly don't think I'm going to be able to use it because I've had it for 3 years. So I had a moment of honest reckoning with myself, and I was like, you know what, this weekend I'm just going to compost them. And now they're gone. They're in the compost. My jars are free. My freezer is a little bit more roomy. And yes, I do throw out shit sometimes. It happens. I will learn to forgive myself for it because I'd rather that than keep leaving it in there. How's my grandma? Grandma's great. I mean, as great as she can be, you know, whatever that means. She's 94. She's not in her home country. She doesn't really know what she's living for anymore. Every day is the same. So, I don't know. Doesn't really sound like much of a life to me, but here we are, doing the same shit every day, right? I think the camera is a little, like, underexposed. See? So if I just turn on both lights, it'll look a little normal. It was struggling with the low light compensation. Tiny wooden spoon is actually a 1 teaspoon measuring spoon. It came with a set of spoons that I got from the free room when I still worked in the tower. So that's probably 3 years old now, almost. I'm gonna turn up the heat a little bit, get a little bit of charring going on these green beans. Then we have our tofu. Cut. I'm gonna slice up the shallot and the onion. I threw out the chipped one, unfortunately. It was like too damaged for me to use anymore, and I just couldn't look at it anymore. It made me feel bad every time, so I threw it out. I'm sorry. Do I think food prices will ever come down again? Maybe a little, but not by much. I think once things go up, they tend to stay up. Unfortunately. I never buy set knives. I always pick my knives separately. You need probably, if you eat a lot of bread, some sort of a serrated knife. If you don't eat bread, skip it. Get a really good chef's knife. This is a santoku type knife in Japanese. I think it means like 3 purposes or something like that. So you can use it for vegetables and fruits and fish and butchery, but you know, it's kind of like an all-purpose knife. Then you need a paring knife. Paring knives are great. I have a small one that is serrated that I use for things like grape tomatoes and butter, and if I can find it, I would love to show it to you. Here it is. It costs $10-ish. Once the green beans come off the heat, I'm gonna toss in a little bit of MSG. I find that it adds really nice flavor for vegan stuff. It's actually a tip that I learned from a professor that I interviewed for the MSG exploration piece. She told me that when she cooks Korean cuisine, if they're vegetarian, she often uses MSG to like be there for some umami bump, and it really does do the most for the vegetables, as the kids say. What has brought you joy today? My friends. I think hanging out with my friends and just seeing them and walking around has brought me joy. I think getting exercise in any shape brings me joy. So Carrie, I actually like to flip a side of the cutting board for pastry stuff and another side for meat and garlic stuff. Just one raw side and one unraw side. But yeah, cutting sweet stuff on the savory side is always one of the worst experiences ever. You're just so angry at yourself and disappointed at the way the world is. I wouldn't freeze green beans before they're cooked, because then they're going to defrost into soft, mealy shit. I would cook them and then freeze them. It also helps to spray down your cutting board with white vinegar sometimes. It helps you get rid of some smells. If you ever squeeze a lemon for its juice, you can scrub the remaining hull of the lemon on the cutting board as well to help lemon it up and erase some of those garlicky notes. If you want to like bend the rind of the lemon to release some of the essential oils, that's what makes lemon smell like a lemon the most. You can scrub that all over your cutting board too. It is an oil, so it protects the wood if it's a wood cutting board, and it makes it smell nice. So, you know, lemon works for both savory and sweet, and you don't really have to worry about the residue smell it leaves behind. Fred is in the bedroom. I am not going to the Momo Crawl. Wait, the Momo Crawl is today. I missed the Momo Crawl. You missed it too if you didn't go. Today is Sunday. It was today. All right, MSG going in. Did monkeypox disappear? No, it did not. I think for the most part, it is sexually transmitted, so if you don't want to get it, don't have sex with anyone for a while, please. Just be patient. I mean, do I have to tell you not to have sex with monkeys? Don't have sex with monkeys, guys. It's not consensual. Don't do it. Gosh, do I have to send you back to kindergarten? Just oil everywhere, guys. We need a redesign on this shit, man. $30. We need a better pouring system. I always thought that I would make a fantastic nun. I really do. I really do think that my potential lies there. I don't actually think I'm a super taster, and I know for sure I'm not, because unfortunately when I went to teach abroad in China in 2011, I had 3 very bad, very, very bad sinus infections because of the air pollution there. And unfortunately, I think I came back from China having lost half of my smell, which is strongly related to your ability to taste. So unfortunately, China really fucked me up. I feel like I could be a much better food person if I didn't go to China. But if I didn't go to China for that year, I wouldn't be the me that I am today. I wouldn't have met Aaron. My life would be very, very different. Maybe not worse, maybe not better, just different. So, what's the point? I think China is great for visiting. Like, Aaron and I had a fantastic time going to Chengdu. The food there is amazing. The people are friendly. But if you're going to China to stay there, live there for any period of time, you better be prepared for shit going down. Aaron and I are still good friends, yes. We're still roommates. We're still co-parents of Fred. We still talk to each other. It's what it's always been, just none of the romantic relationship component is there anymore. I base all of my relationships and friendship. Like, I can't imagine dating someone without being their friend. So when people say they can't stay in touch or be friends with their exes, it's always puzzled me. And it's something that I don't want to be as a person. I want to like someone enough as a friend and as a partner to not really want to lose them when I lose them romantically, if that makes sense. I think there's always a reason for why I am attracted to a person romantically and as a friend, and I feel like that reason doesn't just magically disappear with time and change. Yes, we do change as people, but we don't change all that much to I don't think the people themselves change. I think the way you perceive them change. I think in the beginning, before you actually get to know someone that well, you imagine them to be some version that they're not actually for themselves. And so I think a lot of breakups happen because of the dissolution of your fantasy and not so much a dissolution of reality. So again, when we talk about death being the realest real, the death of a relationship is also reality breaking through illusion, right? We have the illusion that our parents are going to live forever until they die. And when they die, that becomes a reality shock. When a relationship ends, that too is a relationship shock. That too is a form of death. And that too breaks through all of the fairy tales that you've been trained to believe in, that you've been concocting for yourself in your brain. So, it's just whether or not you can forgive yourself in order to forgive the situation. The other person might be the brunt of your first layer of anger and upset, but you are also the secondary layer, and the third layer is realizing the lack of control you have in affecting the outcomes you want. Your helplessness is what gives you the most anger in life, I think. I may not be right. What if the person hurt you in some unforgivable way? Yeah, stay the fuck away from them. Fuck them. know, if they haven't done anything with the intention to hurt you and you were hurt by the circumstances, I think those are slightly different things. And it's hard to distinguish between the two sometimes because we're not really trained to be in touch with, one, ourselves, two, our desires, and three, how to communicate our desires and ourselves effectively to the other person. So there's like so much misunderstanding happening at every stage of every single relationship that it builds up to the end, and you have all of these misunderstandings kind of like cementing into a part of your fairy tale fabrication. And when a relationship ends, it just all comes crashing down, and like if you have the energy, you start to sort through some of the rubble for closure, and if you don't have energy, you're just like, fuck you, you were the worst person in my life, get the fuck out of here, I don't want to see you ever again. And that's also fine. Like, if that's all the energy that you have is to get the other person away from you and you away from the other person, then so be it. Like, it's like zero waste living, guys. Not all of us have the amount of resources and access that other people have to live in a more ideal, picturesque way. Like, not all of us have access to therapy because our healthcare system is so fucking unaffordable. It's not considered a basic right. Education is becoming less and less of a basic right because we have a fucking mayor who's taking money away from schools to give them to cops. So do I blame anyone for like not doing the right thing? No, because the right thing is not being afforded to everyone. So how can I blame them if they've not been given the tools that they need? Nez, I would love to go thrifting soon. I have not seen the people traveling to Hong Kong in their quarantine cells. That sounds interesting. Which kind of genders do you feel romantic attraction to? Mostly men. I would love to have attraction towards women and gender non-binary, I guess, but I've not yet really experienced anything outside of celebrity crushes on those fronts. There's also just like, I think a lack of representation too of our genders and gender identities and personhoods beyond the male and the female divide. So I think it's gonna take our society some time to like catch up to the variety that is available to all of us. That was not an intentional stroking of the wind chimes, but I think it worked, you know? Damn, Lauren. That sounds rough. That sounds so fucking rough. I'm so sorry that happened. Congratulations on keeping the doggies, though. That's important. I did not go to Skidmore. I went to Swarthmore. We do get confused with Skidmore all the time, though. Oh, yeah, you guys. Yeah, I also just like, I'm famously known for having no gaydar. I think my gaydar for gay men is better now, but when I was in college, I had absolutely no gaydar. Like, I had a very serious crush on one of my gay friends for a whole year. And like, even after I knew that he was gay, I still crushed on him. But that's, you know, that's just life. But now my gaydar for gay men is better, but I don't have any gaydar for like lesbian women. I don't know. Maybe it'll develop with time too, but I don't really see many chances for me to practice that skill set. Oh, I don't do recipes when I'm cooking for myself. And I used to own cookbooks that I never read, so you're totally right. I don't really focus on recipes. Do you want any dinner, Aaron? Are you sure? Okay. I have some guanciale from like developing pasta from half a year ago. It's been frozen and defrosted so many times, and I have these two little nubs of Chinese sausage, and I think I'm going to put them into the remaining eggplant, and also maybe with the tofu a little bit. Yeah, guanciale is expensivo. Ooh, welcome back from the cruise ship. How was that? Did you stay clear of COVID, or was that a hellhole? Guanciale is like cured pork cheek meat. Salty and fatty and flavorful. It's used in certain Roman pastas. I don't think it is smoked, but it could be. I'm not sure anymore. I did the research when I developed the recipe, and then I promptly forgot it. I've never frozen scallions. I honestly, when scallions are going bad, I either just throw them into a stir fry or I make scallion oil with them. Yeah, ricotta, cottage cheese, yogurt, they can mold really fast if your utensils are not absolutely spanking clean. So, pancetta is a different thing. Pancetta is more like leaner bacon. That was soy sauce. I've never watched Below Deck, no. Good evening. we talk about? Boiling corn sounds good too, though. Ooh, soy sauce chocolate cake sounds amazing. So Lena developed a chocolate chip cookie that uses soy sauce in it. We're not talking about the queen. Rejected. Absolutely not. Hi, Denmark. Fred update? Fred's doing great. He's just in the bedroom. I'm not going to take you to the bedroom because I'm respecting Aaron's space. But maybe I'll bring Fred to you later. No promises though. It's a maybe. Eggplants I like to cook really, really thoroughly. I'm gonna taste some of our green beans. No thoughts on January 6 hearings. My brain power, I am reserving for important things. Fred gets fed at 8 a.m., 4 p.m., and midnight. It's the only way I can get sleep. Aaron actually has the AC on in the other room, so Fred is okay with the heat. Because it is chilled in there. Alright. I'm gonna dice up our Chinese sausage. How I learned to cook? I watched a lot of Food Network when I was growing up. I worked in the breakfast room at college for a little bit, and then I just jumped into restaurant work for minimum wage for 4.5 years, and then I was like, okay, tried it. Not the scene for me to climb, but I love food, so let's go do something else with food. So that's how I'm here today, doing what I do. As far as before that, when I graduated college, I taught in China for a year, and that's where I met Aaron. And then after I came back from China, I did very briefly 10 months of social work after Hurricane Sandy hit New York. There was this FEMA-funded project called Project Hope, and we were supposed to be canvassing our neighborhood of Coney Island for survivors of the storm who could be placed with mental health resources to help them recover. But it became pretty clear to me within like 4 months of the job that actually, you know, if you studied any of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, like people did not get their physical needs yet, so they weren't thinking about their mental health needs. They were just not at that stage yet because they were still living in houses that were like partially destroyed by the hurricane, that had mold infestations and no hot water sometimes, and like it just felt clear to me that that was not what the community needed at the time, and I felt like my job was basically spamming the community for a service that they really had no use for, and I left the program maybe 2 months ahead of the year-long duration because I was just like, I don't think I'm actually helping anyone here anymore. And that's when I went into restaurant work. Does that answer your question? My favorite Indian dish, I don't really have a lot of love for Indian food, not that I hate it, but it's taken me a while to like it. But I love all the street food stuff, like the chots. I love the balance of like sweet and savory and the different textures that happen in chots, like all the chutneys and the yogurt sauces and the crunchy snacks and like the mushy peas and all of that. I like that. I did watch Emerald. What happened to him? Kick it up a notch. Bam. Dining in New York versus pre-COVID, I don't really know because I don't really eat out that often, so I don't really have a good idea of how much has changed, if any. I think most of the change has been like industry discussions about what exploitation is and what a broken food system looks like and how we can change restaurant work to be more sustainable for the workers. But unfortunately, I don't think anything has really changed substantially on that front. So, it's very sad. But that is the state of our world, is we recognize the things we have to change to make the world better, and then we don't do it. Because money. I wouldn't say everything was better before COVID. But I think in terms of life, things tend to get worse as you age. I think it's about the perspective you're seeing the world through. And you know, there's a lot of like aging involved and the taboos we have around that. Like, I think for the most part, I hate myself more now, or it's easier to hate myself more now because of my perceived aging and my perceived growth and unhappiness and the kind of disenfranchised summary of what I think I could have been, should have been, that I'm not. Like, all of that is very much self-imposed. I think the world has always been this amount of shitty, but especially in the age of information and the internet, it's become increasingly clear to us just how fucked up a lot of things are. So it's become harder to ignore these things. Putting a little bit of togarashi on here for spice. And I'm going to add in a little bit of dried onion flakes for flavor. Then I'm going to turn the heat off. Whisk this in. And then a tiny sprinkling of MSG, because we're already very salty. This is just for flavor completion. Oh, don't worry. I have so many other jars of MSG. That's just one jar that we're running out of. Would you really be okay living without Aaron? him, you dating other people and living without him, him without you. I mean, we won't know till we do it, right? Like, would I be okay? I'm not gonna die. Am I going to be emotionally disturbed and awkward and feeling moments of loneliness, and will it take time for me to adjust to a new sort of lifestyle that I haven't had for the past decade plus a year and a half? Yeah, hell yeah. But does that mean that we shouldn't ever change anything ever about our lives just because it's what we've always done and it's what we've always gotten used to? I think that's a very personal decision and question. I think some people do prefer to live that way and choose to live that way and are fine with it, and some people live that way and are miserable about it, and some people choose to change and are miserable about it, and some people choose to change and are happy because of their choices. At the end of the day, every choice that you make in life is always a gamble. Would I be okay? Define okay. I'm always okay, and I'm always not okay, and that's okay too. I've never wanted to get married since we were past the age of 17. What?
What about to Fred?
I only joke about wanting to get married to Fred. I'm not that insane, y'all.
Serious.
Oh, so why do we call women females, but I rarely feel like we ever call men males? Do the males want to get married? I'm not really against calling people by their assigned sex or gender identity, I guess. It's just weird that it's not applied straight across the board. But, you know. Just something that's on my mind. I mean, if I don't like a question I've been asked, I just don't answer it. That's always an option for me. I actually love folding laundry. Is that weird? Might be weird. Look at that block of fat. What is an ingredient you think is underrated? Gosh. I don't know. Rice? I don't know why we have all these pasta dishes, but not nearly enough spins on rice dishes. Do feel like I would be very happy making my own business where I cat sit for people and I just like help them clean up their house while they're gone. So that you hire me to take care of your cat, but also to like fold your laundry, cook whatever's rotting away in your kitchen, and or toss them out. You know, if you want me to sneak through your dressers and like reveal deep, dark, hereditary secrets, I can do that too for an extra fee. Otherwise, I'll just, you know, leave your little dressers to themselves. But, you know, wipe the windowsill, maybe do a little bit of vacuuming if you have a vacuum, just like an all-around elf. Cat elf. Do people trust me enough to do that? Like, I would be living in your house, basically. Taking care of this shit. I would have access to your life. Sweet potato noodles that needs to be boiled 12 to 13 minutes? That sounds like a lie to me. I feel like they need 4 to 5. Gonna add some of this gochujang sriracha. Jasmine, is that a message from your cat? Bushwick Kitchen has it. I didn't buy it. They gave it to me. Obviously, I would not be buying this. It's probably like $11.95. Would you like to try 2 bites of rice with a spicy guanciale tofu?
Yes,
No, it's not ready yet. I'll prepare it for you. I'm going to fry this rice, this 2-biter rice, so that I can give Erin a taste of this concoction. I think it looks quite... Oh, you can't see shit. You gotta tell me when you can't see shit, man. If you don't tell me, I don't know. Would you ever do a bread and soup budget eats? Sure. That sounds easy. Famous last words. I have 2 bites of rice left because I boiled a little too much for 2 times recipe. So instead of fucking up the recipe, I was just like, you know what? Let's have 2 bites of rice left. So that's how. Guys, I burnt myself 3 times in the last 2 weeks. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but clearly my body is like, you should stop cooking. Yeah, duh. A little bit of MSG. Obviously, it's the theme of the night. MSG on everything, even though this one has meat. I will get sponsors when I need them, but I really don't want to become a human ad unless I really need to become a human ad. I don't really seek to... I think it's a downward spiral once you start to get sponsorships. Like, you just open yourself up to what normal people would call opportunity, what I would call free agent slavery. So I'm gonna have to think about that. I'm gonna have to think about it. Yeah, I know I would get more money, but do I want more money? Especially if I'm not, actually in need of more money, if I can survive on what I have, if I can teach myself to survive on what I have instead of actively working my life around accumulation of more money, even when I don't technically need it. Like, that is the worst part of free agent slavery, is when you work and you don't even need the money. Like, that's what capitalism has trained us to do, y'all. This, by the way, is my eggplant casserole that I got the eggplant for and made the rice for. The eggplant casserole is a SEO-driven recipe request that I had to develop, but I only had 5,000 search results, so it's not too high. And so I just had fun with it. It's basically a baking dish lined with brown rice on the bottom, and then we cook some spiced chickpeas in the middle layer. Then we cook some deliciously creamy eggplant on top, and then we douse it in a vegan mushroom gravy inspired by Lena's vegan green bean casserole gravy, and then we top it with some panko, and then we bake it. And it's like a 4-layered thing that I really like, and I'm pretty proud of it. And it might not be your average eggplant casserole, but I'm determined to say that it is a good recipe. And I think that I love it that I have such a supportive viewership base that say they will support me in whatever I choose to do, but I also want to be proud of myself, and I think in order for me to be proud of myself, I need to stay away from sponsorships for as long as possible. I really don't want to be a human ad. The camping episode took place in a state park, and I can't remember, is Letchworth? Letchworth State Park. My life would be boring without a job too, which is why, whenever I leave this job, I will get another one. Doesn't have to be the same type of job. dream job? I have several dream jobs. I really like baking bread. I would like to live in a community of like-minded folks, like a commune or a farm where we don't think about taking sponsorships from people. Oh, hi Freddie. Yeah, I know. You want a snack? Okay. Shall I get you a snack? Oh, I'm sorry. Did I just whack you in the face with that? My bad. All right, guys, you asked. He came because he loves you. Sorry, had to give you some water in your treat. Yes, catnip can be made into a tea, and I know because I've drunk in it. I love catnip for human consumption. Here's what I'm bringing to Aaron. You want to smell it? Freddie, you want to smell it? You want to smell it? What was that sound? There you go, Aaron.
Thank you. That's amazing. You made some stir fry. Very objects. I don't know. This is great.
What?
This is great.
Yeah? Hi, Linda. Long time no see. Good night, y'all. Did you have a good snack, Freddie? Freddie, did you miss Linda? Well, you got your Fred wishes, didn't ya? Didn't ya? Thank you for being more creative, Cindy. The world would be a funner place if we all just strayed from the playbook once in a while. Fascinating, right? Because I think one of the things that gave me the most imposter syndrome when I was working in restaurants and when I started in food media was that I didn't play by the book and I didn't cook by the book, literally didn't use recipes for most of my life until I entered the restaurant world. And then when I had to develop recipes in food media, I was like, this feels weird because it's like not a practice that I grew up with. Culturally speaking, it was just foreign to me, you know? So when people say that I've changed the way that they cook, it's fascinating to me how big of a role culture plays in our lifestyles. I mean, it sounds stupid, right? Obviously, culture plays a huge part, but you just don't really realize how much it affects the way we view ourselves and our day-to-day life until you do. Tofu cooked with guanciale, Aaron. What do you think?
It was really good.
You can have more if you like. There's also eggplants and string beans there.
Don't mind if I do.
Yeah, please.
Was this is this all rice or?
No, that's all
rice?
tofu.
Okay.
You want rice? We can heat up some rice very easily. You can help me heat up some rice.
Nice. That one had rice in it though. Where'd the rice come from?
I cooked up some rice in the pan for you. Yeah.
Nice.
But I'll just warm up some of that if that's okay.
Sure.
Unless you want fried rice?
No, just warmed up is fine.
Okay.
Thank you. June, I've decided to change my name to Gene Sterator.
Okay, just be careful with my laptop.
Okay.
What's your new name?
Gene Sterator. Please only refer to me as
Gene Sterile?
yes, Gene Sterile. Let's go with Gene Sterile.
Yeah, Puerto Rico has no electricity, which is kind of insane that a whole country has no electricity. I know it's part of the US, but it shouldn't be. Do you want eggplant? Or just more of the tofu? Can you speak? I can't hear you, so I'm just going to give you tofu. Hi, Jessica. Thoughts on Hawaii's legal status? I don't really know much, but I think whatever territories want to be their own thing should become their own fucking thing. End of story. Stay safe, Tanya. Good luck. Yeah, I would never be able to live in the suburbs. I would probably die of loneliness. And also I can't drive, so I would die because I can't drive and can't go anywhere. Sweet eggplant from the Chinese sausage. Really nice and silky and fatty. Little crunchy bits of the onion. And very caramelized from the soy sauce as well. Nice smokiness from the slight charring. Aubergine is the French name for eggplant. It's gonna be pretty boring from here on out, folks. It's just finishing off the last of the eggplant cooking. Me eating the food that I've already made. I hope you enjoyed the process of cooking today. If you have any hot topics you want me to cover in the next 20 minutes, speak now or forever hold your peace. Favorite dinosaur? Oh, Stegos. Land Before Time is my only knowledge of dinosaurs. I just like the shape of the Stegos. I also think they're vegetarian. They're not too intimidating. Like T-Rexes are the Hamlet of the dinosaur world. You know, like you can't... Guys! Holy shit! I have a pepper! All of my flowers have been falling off without coming to fruition, but I have a single pepper! How exciting is that? I was not expecting to have any fruit. If Delish was owned by me, Julia, and other creators, how would the channel progress? Oh boy. That's a hard thing to imagine. Ownership comes in more than one form. Like, yeah, we don't own the brand, but we do own the ideation of the content. So if we decided as a team to like make content that is more exploratory, experimental, I would be game, but I don't know if the rest of the team would be game. Like, if we own the brand, we would also have to factor into consideration like business profits and all of that, right? Like at the end of the day, if you're a media company, you need to make money somehow. Which is another reason why I would never want to own my own company like that. Do you keep up with the drama on YouTube world? Not really. What drama is there? Oh, there's always drama on YouTube, is what Aaron just told me. I'm not aware of them. I'd like to stay out of the drama for the most part. I don't. What? What? I have no idea what he's saying. Something like Keemstar? No. But I also don't love sugar cookies, so I don't have a favorite recipe. Do you think we'll all need to get a polio booster? No idea. Please tell your favorite self-care besides daily vitamins. I like to get a workout in these days now that I'm able to go back to the gym. I like to work out 4 to 5 days a week, at least. And even if it's just like 20-30 minutes, I think it helps my mental health and it helps my body to feel better and stronger. What else? I've been following this Instagram account that's been really helpful for me in terms of kind of reorganizing my brain around disordered eating. So like, for example, her name is, it's Ryan Nicole, ITSRYANNNICOLE. So there's 3 N's in a row. It's Ryan and Nicole. Her Instagram posts have been really helpful for me in terms of like reorienting my mindset towards food and eating in a more holistic way, practicing a lot less of self-judgment and self-alienation, and really thinking about the different roles that food plays in our lives beyond just how much it contributes to weight gain or how healthy it is for us or when it's appropriate to eat or what kind of food is appropriate to eat. Like breaking down all of those restrictions that we've slowly set up for ourselves through societal encouragement or personal guilt or whatever masochistic tendencies we've decided to punish ourselves with, and trying to change my mindset that has been very hurtful for me to hold on to has been a very crucial part of my self-care. Trying to understand why I binge and trying to not judge myself when I still do binge. Like, I still do binge. It's hard to not. You can't just quit like 10 years of habit cold turkey like that. And also when it comes to disordered eating, it's unlike any other form of addiction because you need to eat to live. So you can't just quit. You can't quit food the way that you can quit alcohol. And it's a toughie. It's a toughie. So I'm just trying to give myself the space and the time to figure it out, on top of all the other shit that's going on in life with work and grief and grandma and adulting in general. Just trying to be forgiving of myself and trying to be my own friend. Like, I think it sounds really stupid, but trying to be my own friend is a huge part of my self-care package. If you're not your friend, you're gonna be miserable. So that's what I've been doing. I don't hand pollinate the pepper plant. Maybe that's why it's going wrong. Weissman, Joshua Weissman. Everybody's been doing budget stuff. I mean, it's YouTube. All you do is steal ideas off of each other. It's fine. I don't fucking care. Like, they can do the ideas. Nobody has a copyright on that. Because we don't have any new ideas anyway. They're still not me, though. Good recipes for leftover roasted butternut squash. Caddy, I almost feel like those would make some really delicious scones, like savory scones. That is the Instagram name, I think. Wait, no, I typed it wrong, sorry. It's Ryan and Nicole. Three N's in a row. Try the second one. No punctuation, just the straight spelling. Chinese almond cookies made with lard? Not if they're prepackaged. Nobody uses lard anymore. They all use vegetable oil because it's cheaper. But yeah, traditionally speaking, a lot of Chinese desserts have been made with lard. Oh. Cooking with pork fat, y'all. Makes it taste so good. And here's the thing, if I may rant about this for a second. When I went to eat the tacos in the last Budget Eats in the Wild episode, and we got like several comments about how pig ear was disgusting, dudes, you are eating a dead animal. What makes a difference what part of it you're eating? You're still eating a carcass. Like, for cultures that didn't grow up with seeing the animal butchered and seeing all parts of it eaten, it's been very sterile of an experience of being a carnivore. But like, think about it a little bit. You're eating a dead animal's leg, you're eating a dead animal's skin, you're eating a dead animal's muscle, you're eating a dead animal's bone, its joints, its organs, maybe if you're adventurous. You're eating its tail. Like, just eat the fucking ear. Try it. Try it. Try it. Oh, Freddy. Hi. I almost squished you. You almost died. Oops, almost trashed my camera. I think the best thing we made today was the tofu, for sure. It's very delicious with the 2 different kinds of pork products in it and spicy sauce. Successful.
Thank you, June. Make a delish dinner. Hey. Hi.
Also, when did oxtail become so expensive? It's like $25 for 4 pieces. That's insane. I don't think I'll ever afford oxtail in my life. Yes, I like blood sausage. If you go to my favorite restaurant in the city, Payol, they have one of the best blood sausages I've ever eaten in my life. I don't like the boiled blood though. I have not had the Filipino version, but I have had the Chinese version. They're basically like cubes of blood jello, and I'm not about it. I'm sorry. It's just not for me. But maybe the Filipino one is different in flavor. But the Chinese one is like not my thing at all. Blood sausage is adjacent to black pudding, but I just introduced a Brit to the Payul blood sausage, and he said it is the best blood sausage of his life. So. Yeah, Diana, the blood sausage at Payul does not taste irony at all. It tastes amazing, which is why we love it. But yeah, not a big fan of that iron taste. Reminds me too much of my childhood getting blood drawn every 3 months. They put blood in haggis. All I know of haggis is Alton Brown once had a little 3-minute quip on haggis, and I fell in love with him that episode because his Scottish accent was so bad. Yeah. I don't know, guys. I have very questionable taste in men. I had no idea it was illegal. I don't feel particularly strongly about tamales or tacos, but if I stay true to my mushy self, I think tamales might be more of a June food item than tacos, but I have had very good tortillas that taste way better than tamales, so it's really, 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 really dependent on the quality and the mouthfeel of the tortilla for me. If the tortilla on a taco is bad, I don't want it. That's the end of the story for me. So if you feed me a taco, it has to be a really good tortilla. Otherwise, why? I have to go split pea soup. I'm pretty white in that respect. I like dal, but split pea soup is so comforting and simple and just like plainly salty and smooth, and dal is more extensive in terms of the flavors that it presents, and sometimes I just want boring. I don't know, is my soul part Mexican? I feel like that kind of thing gets us canceled in the year 2022. I once had a roommate who was in her 50s, and she was like, I feel like my soul is part Asian, because I just find like the Zen Buddhism so true. And I was like, really? That's what makes you part Asian? Cool. Cool. Possibly one of the, well, I've had a string of very bad roommates in Woodside, but she was possibly one of the most traumatizing. I was so traumatized by her that I shaved my head twice. And then, thank God we started earning enough money to not have to have Craigslist strangers as roommates. Hallelujah. Well, all of my worst roommate, well, actually, guys, how much battery do I have left? I have 30%. Okay, let's give you a rundown of my roommate stories in New York. The year is 2012. I returned from 1 year abroad of teaching in China. I go live with my parents. They are in the middle of separating. It's a very toxic environment. I move out in 2013. I find a room share in South Brooklyn, and because I was going to work on Coney Island, very easy commute, like 25 minutes. The family that we lived with was very nice. The actual apartment was solidly a 1-bedroom. They were a family of 3. We basically rented out the bedroom, and then they modified their living room into a enclosed room. And it was very tight, living with 5 people in a 1-bedroom, but we made it work. I think the rent was something like $700 for Aaron and me, so this was 2013. Yeah, 2013, so almost 10 years ago. And that was what I could comfortably afford at that point. And she was amazing. Her name was Sonia. I will never forget her. She was so kind. She took care of all the cleaning we offered, and she never let us do it. And possibly the most angelic a roommate off of Craigslist can be. And I also helped tutor her son, and she actually like paid me some money to do it too, and just overall amazing. Then I started working in Midtown in food, and I was like, this commute is horrible. I need to move, not here. And also my mom was in Queens, and I was taking like 2.5-hour subway trips to go see her every weekend, and it was just very draining. So then we moved to Flushing, which was way closer to mom, and way closer to commute into Midtown. And we lived with a single mom who did not believe in vaccines, also did not do her dishes, so we had roaches, and just very, it wasn't bad. We didn't move until a guy in our building committed a double murder suicide. We woke up at like 5 a.m. one morning to the sound of sirens, and apparently he had killed his child and wife and started to set the living room on fire, and a neighbor from the neighboring building saw the smoke and called the fire department, and that's how they happened upon the crime scene. And then I was like, I'm pretty sure this is a sign for us to get the fuck out of here. So we moved. And we moved to Woodside, because Woodside is even closer to Midtown than Flushing. And we moved in with the
50-year-old roommate who was very genial and nice when we first met her, and then we moved in, and she would do these very strange things like complain about my hair being all over the place, which is true. I do shed a lot, and that water was all over the wash sink in the bathroom, which is true because Erin does splash a lot of water. But she would go about these ways by leaving us very passive-aggressive handwritten letters on the breakfast dining table every day and not really talk to us about it. And it just got to be a pretty toxic situation, and so I got tired of hearing her complain about my hair being all over the place, so I shaved my head. And I was like, well, I shaved my head, so now you're not going to find as much hair around. It was also, there was one time in the winter where we were like, this apartment is not heated enough. Like, I'm literally shivering indoors. And she was like, okay, I can tell the landlord that you're sick and we need to turn up the heat. And I'm like, why do you have to tell him that I'm sick? You should just tell him that I'm freezing and that he needs to turn up the heat. But, and fun fact though, I ran into her in the neighborhood like maybe 3 years ago before the pandemic, and she apologized to me, and I was like, you know what? I don't need it. I'm past it, but thank you and goodbye. She was like, do you have a moment to talk? And I was like, no, not really. Like, I'm done with that part of my life. So after we moved out from there, we moved into a house share. It was the first floor of like a 2-story house. And our roommate was a man who seemed to work maybe in a bar setting. He had a fiance, and I was like, great, a couple. They can't be that bad. Well, they would get really drunk on the weekends and blast music until like very late, like until it was early, like 3-4 a.m. And there was one day where I could not sleep because they were being so loud that I walked over after watching like 2 hours of Nymphomaniac, because I was like, maybe if I watch a movie, I will get sleepy enough to go to sleep. No, never happened. I went to, also would not recommend the movie Nymphomaniac, especially the director's cut. It's like 4.5 hours long. It's so exhausting. Yes, there's like sex scenes in it, but it's not worth it for the sex scenes. Not Lars von Trier's best work, in my opinion. But anyway, I walked over, I knocked on his door, I asked him, hey, can you turn the music down? Like, it's really late, I'm trying to sleep. He's drunk, so he basically shouts in my face, go back to your boyfriend and shut up. And I was like, okay, we're gonna have to move out of here, because I was very aggressive and I was very scared and I do not feel safe. So we moved into another apartment share, and this time I honestly think it almost felt like a studio apartment. I feel like it was barely bigger than what we're living in here. We basically had a bathroom, a tiny 10-foot hallway, and then sectioned off to the hallway was the one bedroom where the roommate lived, and our room, which was actually the living room / kitchen combo, which had no real door. It just had like one of those collapsible scaffolded blinder doors. And I had a fine time there because I love to cook, and so I would wake up, go straight to the fridge. Kitchen would be right there in front of us. We didn't really have a closet, so we had like a standing closet situation. It looked like a tenement apartment, honestly, but at that point in my life, I was like, you know what, I'm working restaurant jobs, making minimum wage, it could be worse, right? She would punish us for cooking because she didn't like the smell of food cooking by coming out into the tiny hallway that we were separated by with a fake door and just Febrezing the shit out of the hallway until the Febreze like flooded through our fake door into our room, and we would get nasty headaches. Like, that was the amount of Febreze she would spray into the hallway that was not really separated from our room. She had 3 cats, so it was a lot of cats in the space as well. Sometimes she would like take out the cat litter into a garbage bag and just leave it in the hallway behind the apartment door and not take it out, and then I would be smelling Febreze and cat litter for the rest of the night. And that was the last straw. And then I was like, you know what? I think we have enough money now to look for our own space. And I actually, we didn't realize that we had to move until I looked on her Twitter that she wasn't aware I knew existed. And she posted something about, so excited to move into this new space next month. And I was like, hold up, she did not tell us she was moving. Like, is this apartment still gonna be here? Are we gonna have to leave? Like, when was she gonna tell us that this apartment might not be here anymore for us? So I confronted her after I saw her Twitter, and I was like, are you moving? Like, what's going on? She was very apologetic, and she was like, I didn't know you followed my Twitter. And I was like, it's the internet. So then we went on a wild 1-month chase for an apartment building, and it was extremely difficult. And I actually found this apartment at like 2 or 3 a.m. on Street Easy. It was a new listing. I replied to the listing right away when I saw it. I emailed it to Aaron, and I was like, Aaron, we need to secure a viewing for this tonight. And Aaron came with the deposit in hand, and he was like, we're gonna put down this deposit if we like it. And we came and we saw and we conquered. We liked it, we put on the deposit, and we snagged it. Little did we know that this apartment was directly under the flight path to LaGuardia, so like 2 weeks after moving in, we were like, oh shit, we can't sleep. There's a lot of noise. So the first 2 years of living at this space, we were both very sleep deprived and annoyed and ill-rested. And then eventually the, pandemic hit, and you just get used to life being shitty. You adjust, you age, you break down, life breaks you down, and you're like, you know what? It's fine. Did you like that story time? We didn't need a separate live. Wow. Okay. So, thank you all so much for tuning in tonight. I hope you have a fantastic next week, and I hope that I don't lose my mind shooting this week of Budget Eats. I might. We just won't know. But, where's Freddy? Freddy? Freddy, come here. Hi, baby. Can you say bye-bye? People would love to say bye-bye to you. Yeah, but they can't see you there. Now you're backlit. There you go. There you go. Yes. Okay. Have a nice week, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. And stay hydrated. And sleep. And take your vitamins. And do what you gotta do to keep going.